Football, it consumes every moment of my private life. And some of you will understand why. I'm married to a fellow from England. He's a devoted Liverpool fan. The day our daughter was born, the first thing he did is put a Liverpool sticker on her bed. So, last week, he and the people of Liverpool commemorated the anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster. What was the disaster? It was the day when fans died, 96 people died at a stadium in England. He was really emotional explaining to me why this was important. This was the anniversary when the truth prevailed, when the injustice was, crushed. This was the day when people of Liverpool and my husband were celebrating the victory over what is perhaps the biggest cover-up of truth and facts in England. So what happened? 25 years ago, there was a match at the Hillsborough Stadium between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. And as the match was beginning, a police officer ordered that one gate opens and let the people go through the gate. But the gate was leading into a tunnel and ended up into an enclosure where people were already standing. So the new fans, as they came in, they crashed against the people already standing there. Those were the fans of the Liverpool club. As a result, 96 people died. They were aged between 10 and 67. In the aftermath of the event, there was, investigation as to what happened. And the conclusion was that there was no police fault. It was the fans. They drank alcohol before the game. They didn't purchase tickets but managed to enter the stadium, and they caused the crashing and the fatal deaths. For 4 days, there was an offensive reporting in media against the fans. The Sun, the biggest national British tabloid, published a cover-page story called The Truth and said that fans were urinating on the police, were pickpocketing, from the victims. They were attacking the brave, the brave cops. So why was this so emotional? What was the problem? Well, as I've learned and we've learned recently, that was not the truth. What happened is that the fans on the ground were actually helping the victims. They were providing assistance because the emergency services could not get there on time. It wasn't their fault. So the people of Liverpool, the players, the families, they were fighting for this truth to be revealed and for justice to be brought for over 23 years. And in 2012, finally, an independent commission was set up, thanks to the advocacy of the people. And it concluded that the fans were not guilty. It blamed the police. The police were liable for what happened. But what's really astonishing is that they found out that the police has actually falsified documents, created lies. Imagine, there were police officers sitting there changing 200 statements of witnesses just to take away the blame from them and put it on the fans. This was a big triumph for the people of Liverpool, and now they're still fighting as the truth was revealed and for the injustice to be, pursued for those who are now declared responsible to be taken to court. So what did they do? The people of Liverpool, the fans and the families, created groups. Yeah? They came together and they started to advocate for now 25 years. They, signed e-petitions. They went to courts. They went to parliament. They were raising funds for their campaign continuously over this period. They were, raising awareness at every event where there was a football. They actually talked to investigative journalists. They themselves were, talking to witnesses to actually collect their correct statements. And importantly, they also boycotted media. Until today, it's very hard to find a newsstand which will send the sun. So the campaign achieved its objectives. They had the truth revealed. A new independent commission is now reviewing broader facts. The fans were cleared of responsibility. They actually made lots of media to apologize for the offensive reporting throughout the years. They didn't give in. Even the Prime Minister of England, at the session of the Parliament, issued an official apology and actually revealed the biggest cover-up. And as the member of the Parliament who finally stood with the group and supported them at the end said, the people of Liverpool, the fans and the families, have made the city stronger and the country fairer. So what did this all teach me, a civil society lawyer who doesn't have that much knowledge about football? 3 things: persistence, good laws, empowerment. Persistence. The people of Liverpool, the fans and the families, were not giving up for 23 years, and now 24, they're fighting for the injustice, for the real truth. And I see this throughout my whole, my work. I work with very inspiring people in many regions where we try to come together and help them voice their opinions. And it doesn't matter what the conditions are, because they will, disregard them and they would like to stand up and change things. So I work in Iraq, a country engulfed in conflict. People have to worry about their security. They have instability. But despite of all of that, a committed group of parliamentarians, government officials, civil society representatives came together and decided to do a document which will actually, regulate their collaboration, which will ensure better participation. And I remember one very hot day in August, 50 degrees or more. We had a meeting in the green zone. And civil society representatives walked miles to get to the green zone, cross security checks, regardless of the hot weather, just to make sure that they can sit on the table and they can have their voice heard and included in the document. 2, good laws. You can say, look, these kind of things can happen in England, as if this should justify things happening like this anywhere else. But what made the difference in England is that there were laws which actually enabled the groups to advocate for change. In many countries, these laws are crashed. There are no such guarantees that have people to come together. So, in England, the laws enabled people to have their voice heard even when the government didn't want to talk to them. Even when the police didn't want to accept the right statements, they find different channels. They turn to parliament, they turn to courts. 3, empowerment. People had the ability to make a change. Teaching people to have the skills to change things, how to ensure that they can participate effectively in public processes, it's very important. And we find through our work that there are many ways to do this. One is to actually teach people how to talk to the government authorities, to teach them skills, how to write comments, how to formulate their opinion, how to get support. Hillsborough, there was a mother, and Williams, the mother of one of the victims. She fought an individual campaign against the truth and injustice. And I remember reading a statement from a BBC correspondent who said, I met this woman, a housewife of Liverpool, who sat and learned the legal system in order to defend her rights and make sure the truth about her son comes out. But there is another way to empower people, and that is to actually engage them and bring them into consultative processes, to make them part of the scene so they can see how it's being done. They can learn the different tactics we face in circumstances. And I have a very inspiring example, which is Estonia. In Estonia, a country which had its remarkable revolution to change this regime and become independent through singing. They were singing. Not a single bullet was shot. Yeah? No weapon was used. They were singing and changed the system. So last year, Estonians decided that it's time to talk about democracy, that they were not entirely happy how their country was governed. So again, a group of committed and inspiring individuals, some of them I know work very, very well with, came together and decided to establish a platform called People's Assembly. And what they did, they asked every person in Estonia to give their opinion on 5 themes. People could do it online, through in-person meetings, and they collected around 6,000 proposals. They sat down, they analyzed the proposals, did impact analysis, and eventually came up to a deliberation day when they agreed on what should be the final one to be submitted to the parliament. They submitted it and the parliament adopted it. And now the parliament is implementing it. But what was really good and where empowerment comes is that they did a poll of the people who participated in the process and found out that the vast majority of the people who were consulted actually said that they gained more knowledge about the situation in Estonia and that, they became better informed and more interested to take part in processes. And also a big part of the people said that they even changed some of their opinions and understood better the issues. And what I'm going to say now is really nothing new to you. Yeah? In the city of Porto Alegre, the first city ever to introduce mechanisms for, involvement of citizens in participatory budgeting. You had a remarkable case, which was, copied and, learned throughout the world of how we can engage people to make decisions on what the budget should be about. And I read a report which said that the democracy is thriving and is better because people have learned how to talk to their governments, how to talk to different agencies, and how to talk to their communities. So to bring this back on a personal level, why is this important to me? I have always believed that we should have the possibility to say what we think about the things that we care about. That the legitimacy to talk comes from inside our concern about the issues, and nobody should question it. So I started to engage in various advocacy campaigns since I was little. So together with my sister, we decided to launch a campaign at home against my mom's smoking. So I was about 10 or 12, I think, and we did posters around the house where we wrote, stop smoking, think about the generation that's growing up here. We drew, cigarettes. It took a long, long time. We didn't allow guests nor my mom to smoke in the house. They had to smoke outside on the balcony. And eventually my mother stopped smoking. She will never admit that, I think. But, for us as children, it was important to know that we can make a change. And I carried this with me throughout my whole life, and I tried to integrate it in my work. I tried to even teach my daughter that together with my husband. And sometimes it goes against us. So what did I learn? I learned about the power of persistence, the power of civic action, and the power of people. Thank you.
It was very nice.